we need to talk about what Jannik Sinner is doing. And I don't mean he's having a nice season. I mean, sit down, because the man is putting up numbers that usually don't show up in a career for another 20 years. And the wild part is everyone's so busy arguing about Alcaraz that half the sport forgot to look at what's happening on the other side of the net. Here's the thing that kicked off this whole video. This year, Sinner walked through the first 5 Masters 1000 events of the season and won every single one. Indian Wells, Miami, Monte Carlo, Madrid, Rome, back to back to back to back to back. And somewhere in the middle of that run, he did something no man in the history of the sport had ever done. But we'll get to that, because if I say it now, you won't believe the rest. Before we get into it, if you're enjoying it so far, a subscribe would mean a lot. So let's set the frame first. This is not a Sinner is the GOAT video. He's 24, the career is young. That conversation can wait its turn. This is about what he is right now, today. Because there's a difference between a player who wins a lot and a player who quietly deletes your ability to compete. And Sinner has drifted fully into that second category. He doesn't beat you, he shuts you down. And if we're going to talk about shutting opponents down, we can't just vibe our way through it. So let's keep this simple. 3 pillars: consistency, control, and the thing that separates good from historic. If a player owns those 3 lanes, the sport stops being a competition and starts being a formality. Let's start with the cleanest one. Consistency. In 2024 and again in 2025, Sinner finished the year with a win rate above 90%. That number looks flat on paper until you sit with it for a second. It means for 2 straight seasons, out of every 10 opponents who walked onto a court believing they had a chance, 9 walked off having been wrong. He was the first man to string together back-to-back 90% seasons since Roger Federer did it 2 decades ago. That's not a hot streak. That's the standard everyone else has to live under. Now pair it with the second pillar. Because consistency without pressure is only half the story. The way Sinner wins is from the return. Most players build their game around a serve they can hide behind. Sinner builds his around taking yours away. He stands on the baseline, absorbs your biggest strike, and sends it back flatter, deeper, and earlier than you thought was physically allowed. And the effect on the scoreboard is brutal, because it means your service games, the thing that's supposed to be your safe harbor, become the most stressful part of your afternoon. Then comes the separator. Because plenty of players are consistent, and plenty return well. What Sinner did this year lives in a different building entirely. During his Sunshine Double, Indian Wells, and Miami, 2 of the biggest events outside the slams, he won both titles without dropping a single set, and in the process he broke Novak Djokovic's record for the most consecutive sets won at Masters 1000 level. So the moments that break other players are the exact moments he takes over. The stats tell you he's good. The trophy cabinet tells you how far this has already gone. So let's zoom out, because this argument gets a lot louder once you see how the shelves are already filling up. 5 Grand Slam titles. 2 Australian Opens, 2 Wimbledons, a US Open. He defended Wimbledon this year by climbing out of a set down against Alexander Zverev on the sport's most unforgiving stage, which is the kind of thing that separates a talent from a champion. He crossed 350 career wins and became the first man born in the 2000s to get there. And then there's the one that should genuinely make you sit up. This year he completed the career Golden Masters, winning all 9 Masters 1000 tournaments that exist. And to close it, he won his first big title on clay at Monte Carlo, and he did it by beating Carlos Alcaraz. On clay, the one surface that was supposed to be Alcaraz's kingdom. So that's the resume. And if it were only the resume, you could argue timing, argue field, argue sustainability. But the way he plays is where the conversation actually locks in. The forehand is a laser he can bend through impossible diagonals. The two-handed backhand might be the cleanest strike in the sport. No wind-up, no drama, just a flat rocket into the corner you were standing in half a second ago. He's tall, but he moves like someone half his size, and none of it ever shows on his face. No panic, no collapse, just the same expression at 5-love and at 5-all. But if you're going to be honest, and being honest is what keeps this from being a highlight reel, you have to name the gap, because there is one. His name is Carlos Alcaraz. This year, in the head-to-head, Alcaraz has had his number more often than not. And in the biggest best-of-5 rooms, Sinner has repeatedly won the first set and then lost the war by a single break in the 5th. And the other blemish is loud too. This year, Sinner lost in the second round of Roland Garros, an early, ugly exit on the one surface in the one tournament that stands between him and the career slam. So this isn't a coronation. It's a chase with a very specific finish line. And that's exactly why we need to talk about it now instead of later. Because look at what he's actually missing. He owns the Australian Open. He owns Wimbledon. He owns the US Open. The only trophy left is Roland Garros. One tournament, one surface. That's the entire distance between Jannik Sinner and the career Grand Slam. And he's 24 years old. Now here's the mirror test, because you don't get to say historic without holding it up against the standard. The cleanest dominance the modern game ever produced was Djokovic in his absolute prime, the guy who turned pressure into a personal advantage and bent entire seasons around himself. That is the ceiling everyone measures against. And the reason this Sinner run is so uncomfortable is that he's not chasing that ceiling from a distance. He's already reaching up and touching pieces of it. He's already taking Djokovic's records off the wall one at a time, and he's doing it years earlier than Djokovic did. And this is the part that should make everyone a little uneasy. Most great players hit their reliable peak somewhere between 25 and 28. Sinner is 24. So if this, the two 90% seasons, the Golden Masters, the erased records, if this is the current version before the prime even officially opens, then the honest question isn't how good is he? It's how far is this actually going to go? So this isn't a coronation. His career still has to be written, and there's a rivalry standing directly in his path that refuses to make any of this clean. But strip the trophies away for a second and look at the shape of it. A player who removes your best weapon, refuses to lose sets when it matters most, breaks the records of the most relentless champion the sport has ever seen, and does all of it with a face that never once tells you he's under pressure. We've seen consistency before. We've seen power before. We've seen ice before. We just haven't seen all three welded into one player, this complete, this early. So maybe the real question isn't whether Jannik Sinner is the best in the world right now. Maybe it's this. If one missing trophy is the only thing standing between him and history, what happens the day he finally takes it? If you enjoyed this video, subscribing really does help the channel more than you'd think. Drop a like for more deep dives like this one, and I'll see you in the next video.